Hey folks, Joko here, and I've got a feedback report for a student who has written an essay that has the appearance of being a very good essay, but it does have a flaw that I've seen many times, as have all of the mentors, which we will explain in detail in a moment. But first, I have some news. First, next month, found out hey, I'm going to be teaching an IELTS class. Yay! First time since September of last year. Being a manager, they have me doing other stuff, but it's going to be interesting format. It's going to be 3 hours a week. It's going to be mixed online and in person. In other words, you can attend it online or you can attend it in person. I don't know if it's going to be open to the public or just members of our institutions, but I'll let you know. And, it's going to be 2 hours a week, so it should be rather reasonable, I'd hope. We'll see. I'm really tired. I wanted to get this one out and done and just get it, shown and do it quickly, but I don't think that's going to happen because there's a lot of work to do here. All right, so Madiha Gul, I like the name, nice name, has provided this question, and let's analyze it, shall we? And so now I am, here we are on the old on Zoom with PowerPoint as a virtual background. Okay, so we're back to here. The analyze the question thoroughly part. All right, let's take a careful look. Most high-level positions in companies are filled by men, even though the workforce in many developed countries is more than 50% female. Okay, now that's our premise. Companies should be required to allocate a certain percentage of these positions to women. That's our thesis. Do you agree? What are you being asked to agree with? Okay, that's the key thing that you want to figure out. Okay, well, that companies should be required to allocate a certain percentage of these positions to women. Okay, all right. Where? Where are we talking about? Who? When? What are we talking about? Ask yourselves these questions as you analyze it, and double check the answers, at least in your head, so that you don't miss something important. Like, for example, all right, high-level positions in companies, not in government, for example, and developed countries. So when we ask where, the word developed countries appears in the premise, not the thesis, but this is where they say it's a problem. This is where we're talking about. So we're talking about people in developed countries. And when? In the future. This is good because you can, in an essay like this, bring up points about how things got this way if you're using it to justify your opinion. So you got the past, you got the present, and you got predictions for the future. So you have a whole buffet of tense possibilities to use. Well, the idea is that it's not fair that more high-level positions in companies are filled by men. It's not fair. Okay? All right, so moving on. Do you agree? Give reasons for your answers and provide relevant examples from your own knowledge and experience where relevant. Where relevant. Okay. Anyway, that's on every task too, and it's not in what you wrote, but because it's in every task too, we don't need to write it, but keep it in mind. When you people watching as well as, what's her name? Madiha. Okay, there's the essay as a whole, and let's see here. Can I switch seamlessly over to? Yes, fairly seamlessly over to this, which is wordcounter.net, where we discovered that you got 300 words right on the dot. Good number. Unique words. That's a high count. So the other one, the 199 of the 300 words appear only once. 13 sentences, that's great. Yeah, 33 words is a long sentence, but it's not out of control. Shortest sentence, right where it should be. Average 24, low to mid 20s is what you want there, I think. And it takes you 30 minutes, just almost 29 minutes to write this. How about repetition? This also helps you with that. Wordcounter.net. The word should is used 5 times. I really don't like to use the word should in any essay because it seems preachy and moralistic and non-academic. Gender, working. Yeah, there's nothing jumps out there. Let's go back to our essay. Oh, I'm tired. Okay. These colors probably jump out at you right away. I did not provide a key here, so just remember, red is task response. Does it go with the question or go against the question? I mean, is it in that topic? Blue, coherence and cohesion. This includes referencing. It includes the use of pronouns, connecting words, and also sentences that flow. Okay, if you have to stop and think about it and look at it again, that might be dinging you for grammar, and that causes confusion. But I think it also slows things down a lot. All right, well, anyway, that's what blue is. Green is grammar, and yellow is word choice or spelling. And that's, yeah, there's maybe a different word you wanted there. Okay, so in the introduction, men and women, okay, men and women evidently have distinct roles in uplifting the nation's strength. Okay, so you're starting off with a nice big broad sentence about the topic in general. Yeah? All right. Evidently is not used correctly in this sentence. Evidently is something, new knowledge that has just come to light because of evidence. Evidently, they didn't do that after all. Okay, it's used to counter untruths. Okay, it doesn't mean. I don't know what you meant it to mean, but it doesn't belong in that sentence. Have their distinct roles in uplifting the nation's strength. Uplifting. We uplift people's spirits, okay, meaning like their emotions and their honor and pride, but we don't uplift strength. So that verb and the subject don't go together. The nation's strength. Okay. Now, the next one is referencing. The key posts are mostly occupied by male candidates. Oh, what key posts? If you just said key posts, that would have been fine, because then you're talking about key posts in general. You do not put the with a plural noun or noun phrase when you're speaking in general. Okay? All. And here you just say the, and that means that we're expecting to know what key posts you're talking about. And we don't. This is the second sentence. Most of them by male candidates. Okay? They're not candidates, they're executives. A candidate is someone who hasn't achieved something yet and is trying to. Like you. I mean, like an IELTS candidate. Alright, occupy. Even though. You don't want all though there. You want even though. And you don't need all those commas. There's no commas needed there at all. Even though more than half of the working class. Now, I know what you're trying to say there, but working class has a very definite meaning in context of like workers. The working class is a caste, you might say, and not really. But it's a social class, the working class. That's not what the question says. Constitute females. Other way around. Females constitute more than half of the workers. Okay, you can't put those subjects and objects and mix them up, because that means they constitute females. That means that it means that you're saying that that the working class are make up women. No, women make up the working class. It is argued by some that organizations should fix quota for female employees. Okay, red because it does not demonstrate that you understood the question. It's not about female employees. It's about the high-level positions, not just employees. I, however, disagree with this notion. Is it a notion? Notion is too informal. I don't like notion in an IELTS essay. With this notion. Okay. Now, you're going to get your not only but also in here, right? Is that what you're trying to squeeze it in? Not only but also works as a sentence on its own. You can't dump it in onto another sentence like this. Not only because of potential capabilities. Who's talking about merely on gender? Certainly other things will be taken into account rather than merely on gender. But also, see now, there's a comma needed there because nominated slots. Why not put the yellow? I'm not sure. Can be manipulated by stakeholders. See now, what starts to be evidently, you have been listening to certain teachers who tell you that you need to use a lot of big words, high level vocabulary to do well in lexical resource. No, you don't. Okay, you're already on the road towards good results in lexical resource because there's not a lot of yellow up here. And then you have some very nice turns of phrases that work well. You don't need to shoehorn a but also, not only but also, into a sentence where it don't belong. Oh, I'm tired. I'll sit back here now. Okay, so that's our introduction. Okay. Paragraphs. To initiate with. No one says to initiate with. That is not a good connector. No. Before taking other things into account, the institute, which one? The generic institute, okay, should consider a person's qualifications and aptitude. Yeah, I agree. Aptitude to reward a decision-making post rather than just considering a particular genre. No, I'm sure that within the women they consider the differences between them. This is because holding a higher position, a high position, not higher, a high position demands peculiar. No, I think he wanted to say particular, not peculiar. The person who cannot adapt to working requirements will eventually make the firm confront problems. Okay, now, you're not developing your ideas. Therefore, no, not the right connector there. Therefore, smooth and fluent working, not collocation that you're never going to see. Efficient, people are not efficient in this way that you're trying to make it. Efficient lady like Jacinda Ardern, who's she? Or an adroit man like Justin Trudeau. Okay, well, you got your examples of what? Of smooth and fluent working people? Okay, so what was the idea in the first paragraph? Or the first body paragraph? On the other hand, that's why I was remembering. On the other hand, is used to show two sides of an argument. Did you make an argument for the practice in the previous? The paragraph before doesn't really have a controlling idea. Does this one? On the other hand, if some vacancies are being secured to just fulfill the criteria. That's a plural, criteria. And the needy, how do you identify them? Straight in many Asian countries, such as, which ones? The state has fixed seats for women representatives in parliament. They do? I've never heard of this. However, these seats are often distributed among family, relatives, and party leaders. Yeah. In conclusion, allocating an advanced post should be according to expertise, skills, and mastery, but not on the basis of a certain gender. Okay? And securing certain seats would not benefit the on-grass root levels of the situation. It is therefore recommended by who? What happened to your opinion? That everyone should have access to all opportunities. Great. Okay, I'm just babbling incoherently now. So, to conclude, my feedback here is that you have the right ideas, okay? You're writing a 6.5, but if you want to get over the hump, a couple things you need to do. First of all, stop trying to stretch your vocabulary and use those, at least 2 or 3 or 4 per paragraph of words that just don't fit with what you're trying to say. Peculiar. No, that's not what you want there. I mean, that just jumps to mind. So that's the one thing. This is very, very common problem. Vocabulitis, using of advanced words. And be careful with your sentences. You need to have complex sentences, but you need to have complete sentences, and they need to be coherent and easy to read, not all garbled. And be strict and analyze the question and stick to your ideas. Nothing in the question was about nepotism in government, and you used that as an example. So, yeah. So there we go. Closer, pay attention to your words, pay attention to your sentences, and pay attention to your topic.